Are you somebody who is inundated with meeting requests and booking meetings? Perhaps you're a consultant, or you own your own business, or you are a salesperson. I'm in the same boat as you, and this is my solution to solving that issue so that I basically almost spend zero time now booking meetings with clients, families, friends, or prospects or leads. This is my architectural diagram. I'm going to go over it in this video, and I'm going to tell you how I did it and what are the benefits of it. The businesses that succeed or the teams that win, it's rarely a new idea, a revolutionary idea or an innovation that is such an insurmountable advantage that makes that company win. Because one, somebody will generally find out about that pretty quickly and copy you. Number two, it's very hard to do, right? So most of the time, it's small little things here and there, right? The 2 or 3 minutes you save here, the hour that you save there, the 5 hours that you save over your entire week not scheduling meetings. And those 5 hours are spent on more activities that actually grow your company. That's really all of those things add up, and all of those small little advantages add up into big advantage. I am a consultant, and I deal with 3 basic groups of people who are always booking me in my calendar, and here they are represented in 3 groups. So we have family and friends, and then here we have prospects and leads, and then we also have clients. And then we also have another group of clients who have their own systems. So a lot of my clients will actually invite me onto their own accounts of Google or Microsoft 365. And they'll provision me an email address, and I'll basically use that email address to communicate and work with them on projects. So as you can see, I have a lot of calendars because of that. As you can see from here, if we scroll from the normal ones, my family and friends, prospects and clients, they all go to my Google Calendar. So I have a personal account, a personal Gmail account. I have some Google Workspace accounts, primary and secondary work. I'm also a TopTal consultant, so they've provisioned me an account that I use as well. And also, I have another company. So a lot of people might be in the same boat. They might have 2 or 3 companies that they actively own and manage and work with. Now, if you add the calendars from the ones I mentioned, the clients who have their own instances and provision me a separate account for that, then you have to add in Microsoft 365 and other Google calendars and accounts as well. So this is just a basic setup, but you can imagine how this scales out when you have more clients that you're dealing with. So this is problem number 1. So one of the issues that I find is really annoying is I found myself managing if a new prospect books a call. Number 1, am I actually free on that time and day? And I have to go check all of these calendars and come back to them, right? You can say that, one option of actually solving that issue is basically you can share calendars. So that works if you're on the same ecosystem. Basically, if you're on Google, you can just share calendars across. Like I share my TopTal calendar into my primary work calendar, and basically to all these other calendars as well, so I can actually see the events that I have booked, so I don't double book myself on accident. Okay, but that still requires a lot of manual work, and that's really time consuming. Now, if you're in business, speed is everything, and the more efficient you can be, and the less time you're spending on low value tasks such as scheduling meetings, the more efficient, the more time you have that you can spend on something that's actually important, that actually is going towards the growth of the company, the revenue of the company, et cetera. Actually executing projects, things like that. So if your time's sucked up doing this, which mine definitely was. I tried to solve it, and here is the next phase. It's nice that you could share the calendars between Google, but then that doesn't solve the problem of actually sharing your Microsoft 365 account into your Google Calendar. There's this app called Vimcal.io, and this is what I use. You can see the calendar view. So what this does is basically when you book in one calendar, you can have it synced to all your other calendars, and it just clones an event in that calendar. So it does a couple things. Number one, it marks, unlike the Google where you share the calendars, where you can just see a calendar, but it doesn't actually mark it as you're not free. So here it actually will mark it as not free. So if I have a client call, it'll actually in all my other calendars basically will be marked as not free at that time, so I don't get double booked. Okay, and so that's one thing. Number two is, this is what it looks like now from a kind of data flow process. So now I have basically family and friends booking to I create events in my personal calendar, which then which go to onecal.io and basically clone everything out to all my other calendars. And then let's say a prospect or a lead wants to book a meeting. I'm looking at that calendar in Google Calendar, and I can see that, okay, I have I have an event from my personal calendar, I have an event from another existing client, I have an event from TopTal or whatever it may be, whatever the case may be. I get to see those, and I can, but it's going to warn me that I'm double booked, right? I know that I'm double booking. That solves the issue of syncing. But it doesn't solve some other issues. So basically, if you're a salesperson or a consultant or an entrepreneur, somebody who really has to deal with this issue like I do, it still doesn't solve the problem where you have to do the back and forth and say, well, are you free on this day? Am I free on this day? What's a good time and date for you, etc. This back and forth is just it kills the soul. So it's just so tedious and time wasting. And sometimes you miss things because you're maybe really busy running your business. Okay, so what would be ideal is to have something here that automatically books. So you just set your free time, the app or whatever just checks your available time, and then the client can book at their own convenience for a time and date that's convenient for them. Okay, so that is phase two. So I initially tried to use something called Calendly, but I moved away from that after I found out that when I logged into another client's account, they invited me with my email. Calendly basically, well, they didn't say they removed the account, but basically my own private account was basically discontinued. Okay, and everything was moved right into the Calendly account of my client, and basically that was not cool. So I basically ditched Calendly, and I was looking for an alternative, and I found this really great one. And actually, I found that some people actually have the same issue and basically went the same route. So I use something called Acuity Scheduling. And what it does, it's just like Calendly. So basically, you set your available times and dates, and you can block out times where you're not free. It will cross-check against all your calendars. Well, not all your calendars, but multiple calendars. And see, you can have one calendar per service. So if you have a Google Calendar and you have a Microsoft 365 calendar and you have a iCal, which is like an Apple calendar, it'll check those calendars and make sure that you're not booked, double booked. However, if you have multiple Gmail calendars, you cannot sync all of them. And even if you share one calendar to another calendar, it will, even though it shows up in this calendar, it still shows you as free, right? Because you're only just sharing it, right? But with the onecal.io, it basically creates an account here every time you create an account in another calendar. So that's great. So basically Acuity, so I just linked it up with the my primary work email calendar. And every time a client tries to book, it will automatically detect when I'm free and when I'm not. So that's just been great for me. So I've solved that problem. I do not have to deal with this anymore. People can just select the time. How much time does it save me? The prospect reaches out to you, then they ask to have a meeting. If you're lucky, they have a Calendly. You just click, you check your calendar, then you click a time that's convenient for you, but you also have to go and compare with all your other calendars to see that you're free that time. So that could take like 5 minutes, let's say, okay? So 5 minutes, then you click it, and that's best case scenarios. Most of the time what happens is they will just say, can you meet, and then what times and days are you free? Okay, so now you have to do the scanning of the calendar again. Then you have to send back the times and date and send it back to them in an email. So now let's say that's an additional minute for that. So it's like 6 minutes, right? You have to wait for them to respond because they also have to go reconcile with their calendar and see if they're free on one of those times or dates. And if they're not, then that back and forth goes again. So it could... it's not just the time spent. My time is only like 6 minutes at this point, but the time in between the actual event being booked could be hours because people are busy. They're doing stuff. They're not going to respond to you right away. So it could be 4 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever it may be before you actually. It could be days before you actually get that meeting booked. If that's one instance, if you multiply that out, and let's say you're getting 20 leads a day, or let's get conservative here, let's say 10 only, 10 a day, 10 inbound that people are actually trying to book with you per day. That could result in an hour minimum of your time if there's no back and forth. Okay, so that's 6 minutes times 10. Now, if you multiply that out in the entire week, that's going to be 5 hours of doing nothing but trying to book a meeting. And this is ridiculous. So now I spend basically maybe 30 seconds because I'll get an email. I use Superhuman, so it's really fast. I go in there, I see the meeting. I'm notified, done. I set a reminder, I'm gone. Okay, so and these automatically happen. They just get booked. Also, in addition to that, I have consulting calls, which are paid consulting calls. And to get paid for those, Acuity Scheduling has a feature that they integrate with your Stripe account. So Stripe, so the client or the prospect or the whoever is booking you can pay right on the form before they even get it. So you can actually set up a paywall. So if you're just find yourself giving out way too many free discovery calls and your time is just sucked up and not really producing anything, you should be working on your clients' projects. That's another alternative that you can add. So that's been awesome as well. Let's scroll over here. Okay. So this has almost solved all of my issues. However, I'm using Apple Calendar because I'm on the Mac ecosystem. And Mac Calendar is great because you can add all of those calendars. And one cal handles the syncing, and then I use to interact with the calendar, Apple Calendar. So you could stop here and it would be perfectly fine. But since I want to improve the efficiency of my company, improve the efficiency of my operation, because I'm starting off as a solopreneur, it's really important for me that the time is really efficiently spent. Because every second, every minute that I spend on doing tasks that really do nothing for my business in terms of growth or revenue is just not good. Okay, so what's better than Apple Calendar? So basically, I am using something that's equivalent. This is what you're looking at here is called Superhuman, and it's I'm sure a lot of you have heard about it. But maybe some of you haven't, but it's supposedly the fastest email experience ever created. Okay, so the calendar that I chose to use is called Vimcal. It's the superhuman of calendars. So it's all command line, keyboard shortcuts kind of. It is better than Apple Calendar for me. So it comes on iOS and Mac OS, and it's very fast. Now, the only thing that it's missing, it's missing the key component of being able to integrate with Stripe and actually charging for certain meetings. But the other stuff, so I still need OneCal to sync all my calendars so that Acuity Scheduling knows when I'm free and not, depending on all of the calendars that I have, so I don't get double booked. And that is so it's missing those two core features. But other than that, it is pretty good. It looks like a good contender. The user interface is fast. Another one is called cal.com, I believe. I haven't tried that one yet, but I'll try it next. But yeah, so this is, if you're super busy and you find yourself just spending so much time managing booking meetings, you might want to use some of the methods I found here. Like I said, it'd be perfectly fine if you just went through and use onecal.io to sync everything up, and then use like Apple Calendar to just display it all. That way, when you're double booking or not. And then if you actually need to if you don't want to waste any time booking meetings, then you can use something like Acuity Scheduling or even Calendly. They are the market leader. Like I said, the only reason I switched is their customer service, and I didn't like the fact that they just moved my account without even telling me, and a service like that. So if you use those two things, basically you will spend almost no time booking meetings anymore. I hope this helps somebody out there, and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you. Bye-bye.